Manchester United, arguably the greatest club in English football history, started from a small team of railway workers in 1878 called Newton Heath to a global powerhouse filling stadiums with over 70,000 fans. United's journey is one of seismic highs and devastating lows. From surviving financial collapse and the tragedy of the Munich air disaster to conquering Europe and rewriting history, they became the first English club to lift to the European Cup in 1968, became the first English club to achieve a European treble, and hold records for the most English top-flight league titles with 20 and the most Premier League titles with 13. Their dominance is unmatched. It all began in 1878, when railway workers from the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway Depot formed the Newton Heath LYR Football Club. The club competed locally before joining the Football Alliance and eventually the Football League in 1892, but early financial struggles nearly ended their journey before it began. In 1901, a fundraising program led to a fateful encounter between club captain Harry Stafford, his St Bernard dog Major, and local brewer John Henry Davis, who decided to save the club by investing £2,000. On April 1902, Newton Heath was reborn as Manchester United. The colours changed from green and gold to red and white, and a new era began. After the renaming in 1902, Manchester United's fortunes changed rapidly. Under manager Ernest Mangnall, United earned promotion in 1906, won their first league title in 1908 and the FA Cup in 1909. By 1910, thanks to Davis's backing, Old Trafford became their new home, a stadium that would later become a fortress. After winning the league that year, United faced fluctuating fortunes, including promotion to the First Division in 1925 and the death of Davies in 1927, after which G.H. Lawson became club president. The 1930s were turbulent, with United narrowly avoiding relegation in 1934 for a playoff. They were relegated in 1937, but immediately promoted the following year, beginning a 36-year stay in the First Division. During World War II, Old Trafford was heavily bombed, forcing United to share Manchester City's Main Road Stadium. Despite their rivalry, City supported United during this crisis. After the war ended in 1945, football resumed, and United prepared to enter a new chapter in their history. In 1945, the club made a decision that would define its identity for decades. They appointed a 36-year-old former player, Matt Busby, as manager. Busby was revolutionary. He demanded full control over signings, training, and tactics, a rarity at the time. His vision focused not just on winning, but on building a footballing philosophy rooted in youth and unity. By 1948, his hard work paid off, as United won the FA Cup. 4 years later, they claimed the league title, their first in 41 years. But Busby wanted more than domestic success. He nurtured young talents from within the club's ranks, players who became known as the Busby Babes. United won league titles in 1956 and 1957 and became the first English team to play in the European Cup. Then came tragedy. On February 6, 1958, returning from a European Cup tie in Belgrade, the team's plane crashed during takeoff in Munich. 44 people were on board. 23 died either at the scene or later, including 8 United players. The football world mourned. Matt Busby was critically injured but survived. When he returned, he vowed to rebuild the club in honour of those lost. In 1963, United lifted the FA Cup. Soon after, a teenage George Best burst onto the scene, completing the Holy Trinity of Best, Law and Charlton. In 1968, Manchester United became the first English club to win the European Cup, defeating Benfica 4-1 at Wembley. It was a triumph born from tragedy, a decade after Munich. Busby was knighted and stepped down in 1969, leaving behind a legacy of courage, vision, and footballing brilliance. When Sir Matt Busby retired in 1969, Manchester United stood among Europe's giants. Yet behind the glory, cracks had begun to show. The man who rebuilt the club after Munich had left a legacy so immense that no one was truly prepared to replace him. His departure left a vacuum that would plunge United into nearly 2 decades of instability. In the early 1970s, the club struggled to find direction. Wilf McGuinness, Busby's hand-picked successor, lasted just 18 months before the board brought Busby back temporarily. Frank O'Farrell followed, but failed to steady the decline. The legendary trio of George Best, Bobby Charlton, and Dennis Law were aging, and their exits marked the end of an era. The magic that once defined Busby's teams faded into inconsistency and dressing room discord. By 1974, Manchester United was relegated from the First Division. For a club that had conquered Europe only 6 years earlier, it was a painful fall from grace. Under the lively Tommy Docherty, United earned promotion at the first attempt, playing a bold, attacking style centred on youth and pace. Docherty guided United to the 1976 FA Cup final, which they lost to Southampton, but redemption came a year later when they beat Liverpool 2-1 to lift the trophy. That victory denied their fiercest rivals a historic treble and restored some pride to Old Trafford. Docherty was dismissed soon after due to personal scandal, and once again, United drifted into turbulence. Dave Sexton replaced him and built disciplined, structured sides, but they lacked flair and failed to deliver silverware. In 1981, he was succeeded by Ron Atkinson, whose charismatic leadership brought attacking football back to Old Trafford. Atkinson won the FA Cup in 1983 and 1985, yet the ultimate prize, the league title, remained out of reach. Despite flashes of brilliance, United seemed destined to live in the shadows of their greatest rivals. By 1986, patience had worn thin. United started the season poorly, and Atkinson was dismissed. On November 1986, the club turned to a fiery young Scottish manager from Aberdeen named Alex Ferguson. His mission was clear: restore discipline, revive the academy, and rebuild United's identity. His strict approach and focus on youth development didn't yield immediate success. Results were inconsistent, and by late 1989, with United languishing near the bottom of the table, his job was under threat. Everything changed in the 1990 FA Cup. United went on to win the final against Crystal Palace in a replay, ending a 5-year trophy drought and igniting a revival that would reshape English football. That victory laid the foundation for a new era. United went on to win the 1991 European Cup Winners' Cup, their first continental trophy since 1968, followed by the League Cup in 1992. Ferguson rebuilt the squad with smart signings: Peter Schmeichel's commanding presence in goal, Eric Cantona's leadership and creativity, and Roy Keane's fire in midfield. Meanwhile, the youth academy began producing stars. By 1992, a new generation had arrived, a group that echoed the spirit of the Busby Babes. In 1992-93, Manchester United finally reclaimed the league title after 26 years, winning the inaugural Premier League. The swagger of Cantona and the leadership of Brian Robson set the tone for years of dominance. A year later, United completed their first domestic double, winning both the league and FA Cup. Even Cantona's infamous suspension in 1995 couldn't derail Ferguson's long-term vision. He replaced aging stars with youthful talent, and critics who mocked his decisions soon ate their words. The 95-96 season silenced the doubters, when United won another double with a team built around their homegrown core. By 1997, United had claimed 4 league titles in 5 years, establishing themselves as the new powerhouse of English football. Then came the season that would define everything. The 1998-99 campaign. United fought a tense battle with Arsenal, winning the Premier League on the final day. They lifted the FA Cup a week later, and on 26th of May 1999, capped it all with one of the most famous nights in football history. In the Champions League final against Bayern Munich, United trailed 1-0 as the clock entered stoppage time. Teddy Sheringham equalised, and moments later, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer scored the winner. In less than 2 minutes, Manchester United had turned despair into ecstasy. The treble, Premier League, FA Cup and Champions League, was complete. Ferguson was knighted soon after, becoming Sir Alex Ferguson, and his name forever etched into football history.